So I just got home from Circle K. Went to go pick up a couple of fountain pop because it's hot as hell out here, and fountain pop is just a nice, cool, refreshing treat. But on my walk home, I always see you see signs on like telephone poles. Sometimes you'll stop to read them, and I happened to see one for a missing pet. Now, granted, usually when I see missing pets, I try to go out and help. I do what I can. But I saw that this particular pet was microchipped. And I know that when you microchip an animal, it has their vet records on those chips. And that's about it. And it got me thinking, why don't we microchip animals so that we can locate them when they're missing? So like we can use these microchips to connect to an app on our phone or on our laptops so that we can locate where that animal is and go directly there to find out if they're okay and take them home. What do you guys think of that? Like, I think that's very innovative that that they should be doing something like that.
I think it's a different idea for sure. GPSing our animals. I worry though, because if that news kind of gets out and somebody just kind of takes an animal or finds a feral cat that is now considered feral because it's not with owner, what kind of nefarious actions are going to take place? Because they're going to either one, they're not going to take the cat or the dog. They're not going to take the animal, or two, they're going to do even worse to the animal because they don't want to get caught with the animal.
Right.
See that? Well, that's the other thing I thought about too, is like, if somebody just takes the animal and claims it as their own, you would put like a registration key onto that chip so that it'd be like kind of like registering your animal. And then if you have that registration number, then that you can claim that animal is yours.
Right. Even with adding their information, and I know you can get the vet records, I thought that owner's information or a number to contact would be available as well. But who's to say that, yes, if it links and shows you where it is, who's to say that it's not going to take you 25 minutes up to an hour to get there and it's gone?
That's where GPS tracking comes in, because you could still see the animal in motion as you're trying to get to it.
Right. And I mean, I've got another friend who lives up in around your area, Best, and there's somebody who lives in that neighborhood that is notorious for kidnapping animals, has already tried to kidnap her cat a few times.
I've seen this particular person you're talking about on the local group Keeping the Sioux Safe. I've seen reports on that person.
And every time he has been caught or has taken an animal when the owner has gone to claim it, he never has it. So he is either reselling them or doing the nefarious actions.
I don't want to end this off on a morbid note, but that's my fear, is that if people know that they are GPSed, then they're going to do whatever they can to not get caught and send the animal over the Rainbow Bridge and get rid of the chip.
That's where I think the registration number could come into play. You know what I mean?
I'm going to kill the cat, take the chip out of it, and throw the chip in the gully.
Yeah.
The registration's going to do nothing at that point.
Yeah.
It's a good thought though, you know.
No, definitely it is. I mean, if they can do it in a way that is going to be beneficial and maybe help avoid those types of situations, then sure. Sure, sounds great. You know what else sounds great? Turnbuckle Talk here with Chris Best, OMD, and myself, Carl Carafel. And, well, it's showtime. We are on the heels of SummerSlam. We're in the midst of the Great American Bash. And we have more news to talk about as well. So I think first, what we're going to talk about is another retirement that has been announced on top of John Cena's, because, John Cena says that his last run is going to be in 2025. Well, we found out that someone else is going to be retiring in 2025. And I'm sure Bobby already knows who this person is, but OMD, why don't you tell me, who is this?
This is Miko Satomura has announced her retirement. I don't have the official date here at the moment.
I haven't seen one.
I actually thought it was going to be this year.
No, any of the reports that I've seen on it have not shown me a date yet.
I have the date.
It does say April of 2025.
That's the date I have, April 2025. So she's going to continue working, obviously, whatever current contract she has.
Right.
April 2025, ending 30 years in this business. She's spent time in Stardom, WCW, Screw You USA. Why are you throwing an ad over my report here? Sendai Girls and many other promotions around the world. Not much information about the former NXT UK Women's Champion final match. Okay, okay, never mind. She also spent time in NXT working in the UK under the women's division there.
Right.
She was also the former NXT UK Women's Champion, which I completely forgot that she even had that title, to be honest with you.
I did too, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It kind of got buried in her long list of accomplishments that she's done over the last 30 years. I actually remember her, now that I'm looking at this article, I actually remember her in WCW and spending some time there, working with Medusa, working with Bull Nakano, and quite a number of others. And I actually remember Mike Tenay calling her matches during that time.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Wow. A long-lived and run career. Congratulations to Mako for taking this next step and leaving in-ring competition, because we don't know what the future holds for her.
Mm-hmm.
There could be, like other things, and I'll get into that in a moment, because it's you'll see why. You'll see why.
Like, they're going to continue running her promotion. She does run the Sendai Girls promotion over there.
Well, that's what we got from you, Chris.
Yep. No, I was saying she's still going to be running the Sendai Girls promotion, because she opened that promotion back in 2005, I believe this article had said. I scrolled a little bit down. She had her last match with the WWE just this past weekend against Bayley in what is said to be a fantastic title match. It was for the women's title over there, which I now want to see that match. If I can find it, I'm going to watch it.
I'm sure it's going to come out.
Oh, yeah.
Bobby remembers her in the Mae Young Classic.
Yeah, she spent time. She was in that tournament as well. But yeah, I mean, congratulations and all
So yeah, congratulations to Mako. That is absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
I think what could happen is that maybe she can obviously continues running, the promotion that she helped create and whatever, right? But who knows what other type of roles she might get herself into, much like another superstar has done. Have you guys heard about this? About a
If you're
sexual chocolate?
Yes.
I literally read the article about an hour ago.
Oh, I think it's absolutely fantastic that he is doing this, that he's getting into a different type of role and still keeping within the world of professional wrestling.
Yes.
Yes, and for those of you who do not know, we are speaking, of course, of Mark Henry, who recently accepted the position of Booker for All Caribbean Wrestling, and they are looking to run a joint event with MLW soon. And this is that whole Forbidden Door thing coming together again.
Yes. He as well has stated that they would be open to working with WWE if they came calling.
Yeah.
And I think that's just him going back to his roots and where it all started.
If you listen to Mark Henry on the Undertaker podcast from a few weeks back, you'd actually be surprised at how much knowledge he brings to the wrestling business.
Yeah.
It was amazing the stuff I learned and heard from him in that 1 hour and a half interview that he did with the Undertaker. And putting him in a Booker role, not a bad move, in my opinion.
No. And directing.
Yeah, and directing, true.
Yes, he is booking and directing for the company, All Caribbean Wrestling.
Yes.
So, yeah. He left AEW earlier this year when his contract expired. And he has been working and appearing for MLW ever since then.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where all of that kind of comes in, which is fantastic. And he is still co-hosting the Busted Open Radio podcast. So it still has a lot on the go, which is great for him. I know a lot of people maybe are not so much of a fan of Mark Henry, but I enjoyed his work.
So did I.
Being a fellow big boy in the ring, I loved Mark Henry. Absolutely loved everything he did.
Yep.
And his swerve when he he came out, I'm retiring, the jacket, all of that. Loved it.
Yep.
Loved it. Like
I won't lie, when he swerved us, tears, because I was literally like, is this the end of Mark? Because I wanted more of Mark,
Right. We know he wanted to focus on other projects. So, I mean, this is fantastic. We know this is amazing for him to go and really help elevate and launch a new company while working with another company and using these crossovers. I will not use the Forbidden Door term anymore. I think it can be done away with now. We are seeing a lot of this interpromotional work.
Yeah. He's not starting a new company, though. This company's been around for a couple of years. So he's just coming in and lending his expertise to these the wrestlers who are there right now. And I'm actually tempted to, and I'm more than likely going to do this. I'm going to go on YouTube after the show and look up this promotion to see what I can find out about it myself,
Right.
Of course, as everyone should, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a fantastic thing for everyone to do, is go and take a look and see what All Caribbean Wrestling has to offer, and make a decision from there as to how Mark Henry is doing in the new role. And obviously give it a little bit of time for him to get in and comfortable with the company and with what he is doing. But I think it'll be interesting to see if there are effects and how grand those effects can be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I got a feeling, because again, I'm going to go back to that that podcast he did with the Undertaker. The dude just blew my mind with how much he knows about the wrestling business, and I firmly believe that he can operate a promotion on his own, because basically that's what a booker is. Is operating a promotion, right?
Right.
Yeah. Mr. Best, do you have any different stories for us?
I do, and I've got one on a wrestler who kind of fell into that "where are they now" kind of file.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go all the way back to 1991 when he made his debut, and I'm talking about the Berserker.
Okay.
A name we haven't heard probably since he left WCW, because he did spend time in WCW after WWF.
Right.
But just a couple weeks ago, the family of former professional wrestler John Nord launched a GoFundMe campaign, and I wish I saved that link here for the GoFundMe, to help the St. Cloud native through a life-threatening medical situation. John, who went by the name Nord the Barbarian, that was his name when he wrestled in World Class,
right,
down in Texas, and the Berserker during parts of his career spent in the WWF and WCW, as I just mentioned, is fighting a serious infection in his knee and blood. His son, Joe Nord, told this news source that I'm reading called Bring Me the News, sharing new details about his father's situations. John's issues began after a December knee replacement surgery, one of many he's had to have. This knee surgery, however, ended up getting badly infected. Doctors removed the artificial knee and treated the infection. But once they felt the infection had been taken care of, they then went back. They went back in and put the joint back into his leg. They put the knee that they removed back in, is what it's saying. Thank you, Carl, for that, by the way.
No problem.
Yeah. The doctors have identified two main infections, one of which is now in his bloodstream, Joe says, adding that his dad is being treated for the infection. If it doesn't go well and the infection continues to make ground in the next few weeks, they will more than likely remove the joint again and potentially amputate his leg from above the knee. This sounds really bad for him.
Yep.
Really, really bad. I love John Nord, by the way. Absolutely loved him. I've heard nothing but good things about him and how he's a sweetheart of a dude, from what I've heard.
Right.
I know a lot of people compare him to Brody.
A lot of people compare Brody to him.
Well, I'm not talking about Brody Lee.
Okay.
I'm talking King Kong Brody.
Okay. I mean, lots of people did do that comparison as well, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, a lot of people compared him to King Kong Brody because of the fact that they both look the same. John used to move around the ring the same as him, but that's only because they've worked together and King Kong Brody had trained him, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And for the Berserker, John Nord, I mean, he's the one guy that, you know, sort of, when he walked away, he walked away.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen or heard of him doing, you know, the high school gyms and trying to stay relevant. He's gone out, been the family guy, family man. You know, I'm assuming he had a normal job outside of the wrestling ring after he got away from the business. He's never gotten in any trouble that we know of.
Right.
until this. So it's just sort of been, he was able to separate business and reality.
Right. And like I said, the last time I seen him in was in WCW, had to have been 93, 94-ish, give or take. And he was just there for like a couple of WCW worldwide tapings where, they have the lower card guys just wrestle at wrestle in Disney.
Right.
But I mean, one of my fondest memories of him was definitely how he used to finish each match by throwing his opponent over the top rope and literally throwing them halfway down the aisle because of his incredible strength.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, I think it was like the 92 Royal Rumble he was going in, and Bobby Heenan's like, what's his strength? What can he do? He can throw people over the top rope. They didn't capitalize on it. He came in and like 3 minutes later, he was gone.
Right.
But no,
I do remember on an episode of Superstars where he challenged The Undertaker to a casket match.
I remember that too, actually. Now, do you guys remember him being managed by Mr. Fuji as well for a time?
Yes.
Short time.
Yeah. And then he turned babyface by turning on Fuji and swung a sword around the ring and damn near broke the top rope, chasing after Fuji. I remember that very well. But no, I'm wishing all the best to John Nord. I mean, this sucks, man.
Yeah.
It sucks that it happened to a good guy like him.
It does.
There is a goal that is there in U.S. funds, and there have been 73 donations already. And if you feel so inclined, take a look at that link that is there. And I'll read it out. It is gofund.me/2AB777C7. So if you want to go to that, for those that are listening on audio, gofund.me/2AB777C7. You can donate too if you feel so inclined.
Yeah, just I hope he gets the help he needs, because let's face it, we've dealt with enough loss in the wrestling business this year.
Yes.
We need you alive, John Nord. So please donate,
Please,
everybody.
Yes. Well, since we've lost so much and we've had Meiko Satomura announce her retirement, let's talk about a game. And that is August 19th. Julia will wrap up her final date in Japan before moving to NXT.
Okay.
What's the next NXT PLE?
That would be, I believe, I want to say No Mercy, but that's not going to be right.
Let me see. I'm going to pull up the NXT calendar here in just a moment. Bobby, we hope he does get better soon, too.
Yes.
Just scrolling through here as I'm trying to look. Because right now on our screens, we've got the Great American Bash. Heatwave just happened. It is No Mercy, by the way.
Oh.
September 1st. I'm going out on a limb.
Yep, I think I see where you're going.
Going out on a limb here and saying we get Julia before then.
Really? Okay.
Why? And we've lost Mr. Best again here.
We have, while Mr. Best is lagging, I think I can see why he's going to say that, but
yeah,
I'm going to
sorry
go with
about that.
I'm going to say no, we're not going to see her before that. I think they're going to announce a mystery opponent for Roxanne Perez, which we are going to hear all the speculation. It's going to be rampant. The rumor mill will be abuzz with it. So it will be Julia as the mystery opponent at No Mercy.
Right, because we've had Roxanne coming around and saying, nobody can beat me. I'm undefeatable. I beat Jordan Grace, da 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 da, you know? Suddenly, Julia shows up.
Right?
But the question is, do we put the title on her at that show?
Yeah, why not?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a little bit rushed, but yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, if you're prepping Roxanne for a potential call up after WrestleMania, that's going to then start her into that 6 to 8 months of being off TV, resting up, and getting herself back to 100%.
And let's face it, just by word of mouth alone, Julia's already become a star in the WWE.
Right?
Oh yeah, she definitely has. Oh, not a bad thing either. Bobby is saying Julia shows up at NXT No Mercy or debuts at the CW.
Yes.
When NXT moves to the CW network.
I forgot about that move, actually.
Yes, and that's going to be huge too, because they are looking to go to a major venue for that show. They are not going to run the move to the CW at the Performance Center.
Interesting.
And we also got Steph Devacker making her debut soon enough, too.
Yes. But it's just Steph Vacker, not Steph Devacker.
Yeah, I know my brain, because I see Vacker, I see French, and the duh wants to come in at the same time, you know?
I was thinking you're getting her confused with Steph DeLander.
No.
Because she's a cool cat, too. She's a cool cat.
Yeah, but we do have Steph Vacker going to make her debut soon as well.
I'm waiting for Steph DeLander to show up on NXT as well, given that she's also in TNA now as well.
Right?
It's very, very possible.
I'm just gonna say this right now, but I love all the moving wheels that we've got for the WWE right now, because there's just so much with Julia, with Steph Vacker that you can do with them coming into NXT right now.
Yes.
And it's got me just excited, and I can't wait to see what happens.
You talk about these moving wheels. Let's talk about another moving wheel then. And that is another signing from New Japan Professional Wrestling, and possibly joining a story and being integrated into the Bloodline faction that I think is fantastic. Now, I haven't been able to watch much of SmackDown. You guys watch SmackDown.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Has Hikuleo shown up yet?
No.
He has not.
Okay. Apparently, Hikuleo is the latest signee to the WWE. Fightful confirms that the WWE has signed Hikuleo, but nothing's been kind of put out there as a start date for him yet. But it's likely that he's going to join the Bloodline storyline. Hikuleo is Tama Tonga's half-brother and the adopted son of the legend Haku. So being raised in that environment. Have you guys seen much of Hikuleo?
I have, and I'm just, oh my God, I'm excited for him to come in.
This is exciting. This is going to be very, very interesting. Because right now there are still so many questions left unanswered, because we've got numerous other scenarios, and the rumor mill is abuzz with the Bloodline storyline leading into this weekend. So where does Hikuleo side in the bloodline? Do we see him siding with Solo as Talatonga, or do we see him siding on the other side? Because we're also hearing rumors of Zilla Fatu has signed.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be very interesting because we are likely getting Roman Reigns' return this coming Saturday.
Possibly.
But that leads to another member of the bloodline who is freed up and ready to return.
Can I get my stuff on Hikuleo out before you mention the name? I'm tremendously excited about this, and I've been bouncing back and forth with OMD and our friend Chris Parrish ideas on what to do with Hikuleo.
Mhm.
I do think maybe if he has signed, he shows up at SummerSlam maybe this Saturday to not assist Solo, but to assist Cody, and the sides with Roman Reigns being the first young bloodline to not join up with his brothers.
Okay.
Because right now, the only people that we know that could be joining Roman's side is only Jimmy Uso, because we don't know if Jay is going to come over to SmackDown or even if Sammy's going to come over. We know Paul Heyman's also going to be a part of Roman, but I'm talking about the in-ring competitors.
Right. It's interesting.
So, yes, there are a lot of moving parts in this. And this brings me to another very interesting name and a guy you guys know I am not partial to. But Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, has finished shooting his film and is cleared for a WWE return.
Right.
So we don't know if we're going to see him back in 2024. I believe that if you've got the idea of Hikuleo coming at SummerSlam, you've got the idea of Roman coming at SummerSlam, I think it's too much oversaturation. We don't need this
I eliminated
evolving
Roman.
into.
I eliminated Roman showing up.
Oh, okay. I don't think we need.
I'm saying we build. I'm saying we build to Roman. Like we get Hikuleo coming in and helping Solo. Then maybe the next month we get Jimmy coming in.
Right.
And then Roman shows up.
Okay.
Because you want to build. You want to build to the big dog.
Right.
You know?
Fans are hoping that we could see The Rock back in action sometime this year. I really don't see that. I can see him coming in, taking on that leadership role outside the ring if we go to the War Games match like this.
Okay. So do you think we could see a Bloodline versus Bloodline War Games?
I do.
That's where we're going with this. That's where I think we're going with this. And I want to answer Bobby's saying.
Yeah.
What he's saying, what if we potentially see Zilla Fatu in the WWE? I think we do see him, but I don't think he comes to the main roster right away because he only like just started wrestling within like the last year or so.
Right.
So coming in and going to NXT would be the better bet for him.
Right.
That way he can get that seasoning before he comes to the main roster.
The problem I see there, and we've said this with Tamatonga, we wanted to see him go and be his own man. We keep him away from the bloodline. We were swerved completely with Tongaloa. I would love to see Hikuleo do the same thing, stay away from that, go and be his own man, establish himself first in NXT.
Yeah, but I'm not saying Zilla Fatu goes and becomes his own man. He's way too green for the main roster. Extremely green. So he goes and gets that knowledge, collects that for maybe about a year, because I do see the bloodline stuff going for about another year.
Right.
And then maybe you bring him up.
Okay.
I mean, either way, it's going to be the Bloodline Wrestling Federation soon enough.
Right?
It kind of already feels like that with the amount of island people that we've got on the roster.
Yeah.
But one thing's for certain, and I'm thinking of, I keep thinking about this. All of Haku's boys going into the WWE in 1 year. I'm calling it now. Haku goes into the Hall of Fame next year.
Okay. Now, we've heard names bantered about for the wise man of Solo's bloodline. What about Haku as that wise man?
I just want Haku on my screen regardless. I love that guy. And here's the thing. At his age, he can still go.
Right?
So, like, if you want to put him in a match, he can still do it.
Right?
He would just, I kind of just, I don't know. I kind of want to see him and Gunther have a chop off now.
Yeah. So who knows what we will see, as we always say, with the WWE.
Right.
We have a couple stories left here. OMD, do you have another story?
I do. As we were touching on Hikuleo and the bloodline, let's turn to another wrestler turned actor who will be retiring in 2025. And that is John Cena.
Okay.
Who, for the first time in 27 years, will be a wrestler appearing on The Simpsons.
The second to do that, correct?
Yes. The second one since Bret Hart.
The second, who is also currently employed by the WWE as well.
Yes.
Because I remember that Bret Hart episode very well. The Bret Hart episode is one of my favorite Simpsons episodes. And I'm not saying that because Bret's in it, but it actually was a decent episode.
Bret Hart doesn't let us forget that Bret Hart was on The Simpsons. Okay.
Right? From what I'm getting for this, it says John Cena will be in the first episode of season 36 of The Simpsons. The producers teased The Simpsons season 36 opener, Bart's Birthday, which will feature former Simpsons writer Conan O'Brien returning in a major role. Others guests on that opener are John Cena, Danny DeVito, and Tom Hanks.
Oh, I'm already sold. This will be Tom Hanks' second appearance with The Simpsons, by the way.
Yes, it will.
His first one was in the movie.
So it's a star-studded cast for the one episode?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So I know Simpsons has kind of fallen off as far as being a funny show lately, but it's been kind of picking up the last couple of seasons again. And with them bringing Conan O'Brien on, who was one of the original writers for The Simpsons before he did his show.
Yep.
I'm all for it. Thumbs up. If Conan's writing it, I'm going to watch it.
I can't see him writing it, but I see, like, if he's coming back in a major guest appearance along with John Cena, Danny DeVito, and Tom Hanks, you're not going to go wrong.
No. But I guarantee you, even if Conan isn't writing it, he's probably going to go into the writer's room and lend his expertise because he's been there. He's written Simpsons episodes. He's produced Simpsons episodes.
Yep.
I can guarantee you this is going to be a funny episode.
Yeah, it definitely will be, considering who all is there for sure. It definitely will be, especially when you include somebody who has become more of a comedic actor in John Cena now to come in and be on the sitcom that is The Simpsons.
And acting with one of the greatest comedic actor legends in the industry, in Danny DeVito. I mean, that's something I would want to add to my resume. I would give anything to work with Danny DeVito.
Any other news that we have?
I am fresh out.
I am fresh out too. I was only able to find the
He's fresh out too. He was only able to find a little bit of story as well. And yeah, so we're gonna continue on, and we are going to talk about this upcoming.
A lot of Goldberg news today. He was on Chris Van.
Okay, you've
Yeah.
we're moving on.
I know. I got to
shit
get
about
this
Goldberg.
friggin' computer. Yeah. Nobody does. So
We're moving on to SummerSlam.
All
We've
right.
got SummerSlam coming up this Saturday, and we have, as of right now, 7 matches. I'm going to go through the match card, and I just want each one of you to give your prediction on who is going to win the matchup, and if you figure that there's going to be any shenanigans and of any sort. We're going to start off with CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. It's a singles match with Seth Rollins as the special guest referee. Chris Best, start with you.
I've actually been bouncing back and forth on this matchup, and it just occurred to me right now that this is actually going to be Punk's first singles match since coming back from the injury, because I totally forgot he had the matches with Dom on the house show circuit back in December, but his first televised singles match on pay-per-view. So I think I'm going to go with Punk on this one, because Punk has gotten underneath the skin of Drew McIntyre, and when Punk gets underneath the skin of you, Punk has won.
Yeah. I'm taking Punk as well, but I do think there's going to be shenanigans. I think Seth is going to involve himself more than he says. But for the exact same reason, this is Punk's first televised match since his return. Punk's getting the win.
I think I would have to agree. I think that CM Punk is going to get this win. It just seems appropriate for him to get that win. A singles matchup for the WWE Intercontinental Championship, where we have the champion, Sami Zayn, taking on Braun Breaker. OMD.
Braun Breaker.
Okay.
Braun Breaker, I think it's going to be,
I'm going Sami Zayn, because right now we've had Braun come out and beat Sami Zayn every week, beat him up. But we're going to get that underdog story, that underdog match again between Sami and Braun. And I think Sami takes the win here. It's not going to hurt Braun in any other way, because it's Braun Breaker. He just right now, he just seems what's that word? Invincible right now.
Right.
But I think Sami retains.
I can see that if they bring Dragunov back from his injury that happened a week ago on Raw. We haven't had any updates, but if he doesn't come back, then I think it's Braun. I think Braun said it best. He let his guard down. He underestimated Sami the last time, and it's not going to happen.
I think we're going to see Sami Zayn retain his championship. The next championship we're going to talk about is the WWE United States Championship, where the current champion, Logan Paul, will be taking on L.A. Knight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Best?
Okay, so we've been waiting a year for this man to actually win a championship. I'm going to go with LA Knight on this one. We've been waiting. It's been well over a year, actually, that we've been waiting for him to win a championship, and it would be nice to see him take the belt off Logan Paul, because Logan's had it long enough. Logan's done the promotions he's needed to with the title. I think it's time for him to forfeit that championship, or to drop that championship, I should say.
Okay.
I am with you 100%. I'm going LA Knight. Do I expect we're going to get KSI and ISO Speed to interfere, or at least be there and toss the brass knucks? Absolutely. Do I expect Logan Paul to be wearing that giant plastic bottle of Prime by the end of the match? Absolutely.
Okay. I think we're going to be having Logan Paul retain that championship.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Not ready for LA Knight to have a title?
Oh, I'm very ready for LA Knight to have a title. I don't think that the WWE creative is ready for LA Knight to have that title. I think that they're wanting to continue this relationship with Logan Paul, the sponsorship with Prime Energy Drink, right? Like, got to make sure that this guy has his perks.
True.
Right.
Yeah. We go to the undisputed WWE Championship, where we have Cody Rhodes taking on Solo Sikoa. OMD.
Cody retains, but Solo wins by DQ.
Okay.
How do we get to that DQ?
I'm going to say Jimmy Uso, Roman Reigns, somewhere along there. And so Cody is either going to use a chair on him, or Cody's going to get counted out. So Solo wins, but Cody's retaining the title.
Interesting.
I'm going to throw a bit of a wrench in here right now.
Okay.
Because we've been talking about the idea of interference in the bloodline matchups, because it's standard now, right? But I'm going to say Cody wins clean and nobody interferes.
Interesting. Okay. So we got one that says it's going to be clean and one that says that it's going to be a disqualification. Either way, the result is the same. I believe as well that Cody Rhodes will continue to hold the undisputed WWE Championship. We have the WWE Women's Championship, where we are going to have Bayley taking on Nia Jax. Mr. Best, let's start with you.
I love you, Bayley. I really do. But I think Nia takes it. And we get this storyline between Tiffany Stratton and Nia, who've been doing this best friend kind of angle over the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
Where Tiffany, not right at this show, because I initially made it for this show, but Tiffany cashes in on Nia, thus turning Nia babyface.
See, and I have read the exact opposite. They are going to have Nia win, which I'm going with as well. But I'm having Tiff cash in at SummerSlam and win, turning Tiffany babyface.
So you went the route that I went, that I told you last week could happen.
Yep. Yep. And I'm going to go with them turning Tiffany, who's already over and a fan favorite, and they're going to turn her full-on babyface.
Bayley is going to retain that championship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to be a tall order because, again, Nia's got Tiffany at her side, and well, actually, Bayley's got Michin at her side too. Now that I think about it,
And Naomi.
Yeah.
Bayley is going to retain.
I see where you're coming from on that one, dude.
Yep.
This is also another match I've been going back and forth on, you know?
Right. Of course.
Yep.
This next matchup, I don't want to even see this right now, but the Women's World Championship, our champion, Liv Morgan, taking on Rhea Ripley. You guys talk about that first. OMD, start with you.
Liv retains.
Okay.
It's going to be dirty. Not dirty Dom, but it's going to be dirty. It's going to be a sneaky win, but Liv retains.
Okay.
OMD just triggered something in my head. I originally was going to go with Rhea, and I thought we were going to get this whole return angle with Rhea coming back, and now she's going to conquer Liv, and now she's the conquering champion. But I'm going to say Liv retains.
Okay.
Liv retains because Dom turns on Rhea.
Interesting.
The whole thing that Dom said to Liv a couple weeks ago could be nothing more than a ruse to sucker Rhea in.
It's a possibility.
I'm thinking Dom, I'm thinking Eddie Guerrero style, and this is something that Eddie would have done.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, he would have. But Eddie was always true to his mamacita, though.
Until he took the Intercontinental title from her.
No, we just don't talk about that. I believe that Liv Morgan is going to retain as well. You're going to see this program continue on for a while. And it's a great way for that to continue. Liv Morgan retains. We see maybe a mental breakdown from Rhea Ripley and her needing to, on screen for us, build herself back from this breakdown to then at some point within 2024 and 2025 begin, then win that championship.
And this whole Dom turning on her turns Rhea into a monster baby face. Not that she already is, you know?
Right. See, and again, I know I'm buying into the speculation, but I don't think it's Dom that's going to turn on Rhea. I think it's going to be Finn Balor and JD McDonough.
Okay.
I could see it if you were going to drag it out and do Hell in a Cell, that's where the turn is, and then you're going to have Damian and Dom with Rhea versus JD and Finn with Liv in a 6-person intergender or mixed tag match. Because let's not forget, go back to Finn teaming with AJ. Who did they recruit to battle Judgment Day? They recruited Liv.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I could see that whole thing playing out.
Could very well. The Judgment Day is not done with the night, though, as we have got the champion, Damian Priest, taking on Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. We discussed this a little bit last night as we were on the Raw Patrol, but Chris Best, we'll start with you.
This is going to be a straight up Pure Six brawl between them two because of what we've seen over the last couple of weeks, how the arena wasn't able to contain these men. I've got Gunther taking the title, though.
Okay.
But this is bottom line, straight up brawl, because I want to see Gunther going into Bash in Berlin, as I said last night, as the conquering hero, the conquering champion.
Right. See, and I took the opposite. I've got Damian Priest retaining, so that as you go into Bash in Berlin, where you've got the roles are going to be reversed, whereas at SummerSlam, Priest is the babyface, Gunther is the heel. Bash in Berlin, when Gunther beats him in his home territory, you get that conquering hero feel for Gunther.
So what I see, I don't see Damian going after the being in the main event at Bash in Berlin because of a certain Ilya Dragunov being injured right now. Dragunov returns on Monday to challenge Gunther for the title, and we get the two of them headlining Bash in Berlin.
That's a way to spin it as well.
Yeah.
For sure. I think we're going to see Gunther take this matchup. I think we're going to slowly start to see the disintegration of the Judgment Day, with maybe not a full implosion, but a real have to try to put back together type of storyline going on within the Judgment Day after these things. After Rhea loses to Liv once again, after Damian loses to Gunther, I think we're really going to start to see that implosion.
I kind of
rebuild.
I kind of like that because JD and Finn will be coming out of this weekend as the only champions should that happen.
Right. And we've already seen each and every member of the Judgment Day, except for JD, assume some form of leadership position, where it was Rhea taking on everybody's problems and dealing with it with Pierce herself, Damian Priest delegating to the different members, no, you go take care of this. You do it. It's your mess. You clean it up.
Yes.
Finn was sort of the initial de facto leader when he debuted when they turned on Edge 2 years ago. Just because of his stature at the time within the WWE. Dom, just because, again, he is, because of nepotism, but because of how he has come into his own and really been able to grip the crowd. So everybody has had their shot except for JD McDonough.
Okay. Lots of different ways that these things can go within the world of pro wrestling. We are almost at our 1 hour mark, so it is now time for us to get to our Showstopper segment. This week on our Showstopper segment, want to take a look at overt sexuality. Yes, I said that weird. Don't blame me. Just the way it came out of my mouth. Overt sexuality within the WWE. Now, the graphic that I have for this does show a lot of the situations that have been happening with this relationship of sorts between Liv, Dom, and Rhea, and what has been transpiring with that. But I've noticed since we have gotten into this Triple H era, this Evolution era, that we are seeing a little bit more risque stuff happening on our Monday night and Friday night programming shows that are on national television. Now, we do know that Monday Night Raw will be making its way in the United States, at least, to Netflix. It'll be on Netflix for us as well. All the programming is going to be available to us on Netflix in Canada. Is this a foreshadowing to what we will be seeing more of with Netflix?
I think we've really got to be careful going into Netflix. I know we saw a lot more back in the Day of the Divas, back in the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era, with the bra and panties matches, the lingerie pillow fights, Edge and Lita's live sex celebration.
Cat,
even with
Jacqueline.
Yep. And those were just,
Sable.
Other than Cat, those were all, malfunctions. Cat and Sable. And you look at the number of wrestlers and divas back then that went and posed for Playboy. I think we are going to have to worry about it moving to Netflix, because there's going to be less restrictions. In the US, I don't think they're going to have to worry about it as much on SmackDown and NXT, because they are going to be on CW and USA. So I'd like to think no, and I'm thinking that they are still going to gear the product towards maybe an older demographic now, that 18 to 49, and gear away a little bit from the kids. Might go back to a TV 14 rating on Netflix, but who knows? It remains to be seen. It's going to be a very slippery slope.
Mr. Best.
I got to ask you guys a question. Who is WWE's primary sponsor?
Who?
Who makes the toys for WWE?
Mattel.
Who does Mattel cater to?
Kids.
This is as far as we go, as far as the sexualization in WWE goes.
So you don't feel that that we've been seeing is too far for Mattel?
No, well, no, because it still seems pretty tame compared to what we've seen in the Attitude Era with, Jacqueline's tits actually being flashed out, as with the cat flashing hers and Sable doing hers purposely
different
as well.
Time, different era, different situations. I'm talking about now.
Yeah, because again, they have to answer to the sponsors, regardless of what they do on TV. If there's something that's too far, Mattel will get down on them and say, "Hey, look, that went too far," and kind of give them a warning. You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay.
And as I said, Mattel, the majority of their toys cater to children. I'm sorry, I saw Gallus and they're interrupting Joe Hendry, and I'm mad about it right now. But yeah, it's the same thing happened in the Attitude Era when they were doing this sexualization thing. They did have to answer to sponsors. Jack Specific got mad at them numerous times. Even Skittles got mad at them, like the company that makes Skittles.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But yeah, they have to answer to sponsors first and foremost for everything that they plan to do or are going to do. And I think as far as like what we're seeing with Liv and Dom, and even the language that The Rock used earlier when he earlier in the year when he beat up Cody Rhodes, and he was dropping, I think he dropped a couple of F-bombs during that thing.
Yep.
I think that's maybe as far as it goes. I'm not too sure. It all depends on, I guess, what sponsors really say about it,
Right. See, I am thinking that the language is going to increase, especially for us here in Canada with it moving to Netflix.
And it already has been increasing on Monday nights. We've already been having Pat McAfee, saying son of a bitch,
right?
and using shit.
Right.
Like these things have already been done. So on Netflix, do they really need sponsors? Do they need all of that sponsorship funds on Netflix?
No, they don't.
but they're still going to get it.
Right. So if they do something that Mattel says, we don't like that, and then they're like, okay, so yeah, we don't need you. Okay, whatever. If you're mad, be mad.
That's a major toy company they're giving up, though.
So there's other toy companies that are out there.
Yep. They've had Hasbro before. They've had Mattel. I'm sure they can find, some other company that
take some of the new up and comers, Jazzwares.
Yeah, I was going to say they can't use Jax because I believe Jax has AEW right now. So
actually, Jazzwares is working with AEW.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Because they those figures look a lot like Jax figures to me.
They very much so do. Yes, you are correct.
They even have actually Ringside Collectibles could make their WWE's figures.
Do I think we're going to go back and get like bra and panties matches and lingerie pillow fights? Not a chance in hell.
No.
No, I don't think so either.
The women's wrestling has come too far from that era that we don't need to go back.
No, and I don't think we're going to get like, for instance, Choppy or Wee Wee from Val Venus or anything like that. We're not going to go that far.
Right.
WWE is going to probably push the envelope, but not push it so that it lands on your doorstep, you know?
Right.
So you talk about the bra and panty matches, right? We don't necessarily have to go back to like bra and panty match type of situations, but and it's almost as if it's happening now with some of the ring gear that's out there. But swimsuits show just as much as bra and panties.
Right.
Look at what Rhea was wearing last night, to be honest with you.
Right.
That's lingerie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
It'll be very when they can do stuff like that tastefully, like the way they did it with Rhea last night, and they've done it with Liv, you know, with the short shorts. Great. Right. Because it's not, I mean, yes, it is sexualizing it. It's romanticizing the idea that, you know, any one of us in the arena could be with her. But they weren't really pushing the envelope with those outfits. It was done tastefully. It was done respectfully. And I think as long as we keep that, I mean, I don't think we're going to get an Edge and Lita live sex celebration again on TV.
No, and I don't think that we will either. But I think that this is their testing grounds to see how far they can go before going to Netflix.
Right. And I mean, with everything to do with this love triangle square with Jimmy or Jey Uso, whatever you want to call it, I think this is just the every 2.5 year storyline that they need to do with a love interest.
It's possible.
Right. And going back to the whole sponsors thing, I mean, WWE they've been willing to work with sponsors on how far they can push the envelope as far as their TV product goes, regardless. So,
yeah.
And Jax, and when they had Jax as their toy figures, I mean, Jax was like, yeah, let's push that envelope a little bit more and see how far we can go. I mean, it was Jax who released the Al Snow figure with the mannequin with a head, and everybody thought it was a severed head, you know?
Right. Yeah. We'll have to see what happens when it comes to the WWE Monday Night Raw, Netflix, and the overt sexuality that has been out there. OMD, tell the people where they can find you on the socials.
People, you can find me on Facebook, Daniel Hrycyk, HRYCYK. On Snapchat, One Man Dynamic, capitals on OM and D. On Twitch at OMD17 and on Discord at OMD6370.
Mr. Best.
All right, guys, you can find me youtube.com at CBRS Entertainment, twitch.tv CBRS_entertainment, threads.net at CBestFilms83, facebook.com Chris.best83, tiktok.com at CBRS.entertainment. And
for myself, you can find me on my link tree, linktr.ee/Carl Carafel. That's linktr.ee/KARL KARUFEL. For Chris Best, OMD, and myself, we want to make sure that each and every one of you know where you can see the different shows that happen on this network. So if you were on the video side of things, we're going to play that for you right now. For Chris Best, for OMD, and for myself, Carl Carafel, thank you for joining us on this edition of Turnbuckle Talk. Remember, everyone, the world's a scary place. Take care of each other.